On a slightly different subject, I've been telling I'm going to change subjects. I've been telling myself a crappy story about...
You're exactly right, but why?
Why have I been telling myself a crappy story? Because I've been unable to define the subject.
Well, maybe.
I've not reached a level of maturity in this realm of...
Maybe. But really, what's the real reason that you've been telling yourself a crappy story?
What's the real reason? Because I've not been able to define it. So
we know, and we're going to go there with you. But before we do, let's just stay here just for a little bit. What's the real reason that you would tell a story or even believe a story? Because we know that you wouldn't tell it if you didn't believe it. So what's the reason that you would believe a story that doesn't match the real story of who you really are? Because there's a defensiveness. There's an innate understanding. You were born knowing that you're supposed to get what you want, and you were born knowing the power of your ability to create, and you were born knowing the worthiness of your being, and you were born knowing how this all works. And so there's this very deep, very core understanding that things are supposed to be working out for you, that you're supposed to be able to just point and receive. Your worthiness level is that supreme. But when you haven't known how to get into the receptive mode, and you haven't known very many other people that have either, so you're witnessing outcomes that are different than the outcome that you innately know that you deserve, then you begin in a backwards fashion telling the story that justifies where you stand. Almost everybody's doing it. It's like reverse creating. Instead of telling the story that will lead to this, you stand here and you try to tell the story that got you there. That was the biggest thing that we've ever said to you. That's the reason. That's the reason that you tell the, in your words, crappy story in order to justify not being where you know you deserve to be.
Okay, so let's make some headway with this then.
Yeah, let's.
So here's the challenge that I have. I want to be able to define, in the capacity of relationships, what love means to me.
All right, so let's step back into a more general place, and let's not define it in specifics. Because if we try to define it in specifics, then we're trying to conjure something that we have no vibrational basis for. Does that make sense?
I totally accept that.
So let's talk unconditioned. And unconditioned, from our definition, is emotion. Because if these vibrations turn to a condition, then what we want to talk about is the unconditioned. So we want to do exactly what you ask us to do. We want to define the relationship in the unconditional terms. So it feels lovely. It feels happy and satisfying. It feels clever and real. It feels real. It feels whole. It feels like well-being. It feels like home. It feels like brilliance. It feels like eagerness and energy. It feels like excitement. It feels like love and appreciation. It feels like adoration. It feels like perfection. It feels like knowing. It feels like aliveness. It feels like eagerness. It feels like life. It feels like home. It feels natural. It feels like who I am. It feels like defenses are down and expectations are up. It feels like all things are possible. It feels like well-being. It feels like appreciation. It feels like mutual appreciation. It feels like adoration coming and going. It feels like ease. It feels like flow. It feels like ease. It feels like ease. It feels like complete absence of struggle. It feels like ease. It feels like fun. It feels like clarity. It feels like passion. It feels like that. That's what it feels like. And those feelings will lead to experiences and lovemaking and ideas that are flowing and conversations. As those feelings are fostered by you, then this magnificent creation with all of the details of all the physical components, everything that you want, all of that will come into your awareness. And then Source will say, not literally, but we want you to get the sense of it. What you want is this way. It's this way. And if you can resist the temptation to say where, who, when, and instead you can just say this way, This way, this way. How do I know it's this way? Because this way feels exciting right now. Because this way feels fun right now. Because this way, this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. And all of a sudden, oh, I think I'm seeing something that looks and sounds and smells and tastes and touches like this felt, you see. And then you don't say, I wonder. You say, I know. And the other one knows too, because for it to be someone that meets you on that level, it has to be someone who meets you on that level, yes? Yeah.
What it's forced me to recognize is accept the moment, accept the experience for all that it is. And the reason why I say that, I've done a lot.
The reason that we like you to say it is because you've got no other choice. There's a sort of surrendering or giving in to the accepting of whatever it is, because you are where you are. We know that you're trying to say something.
I know Abraham understands this because I know you can feel it from me.
Yeah.
This is what I'm trying to overcome, right? When I experience love in my life, it has come from a premise of wearing my heart on my sleeve. It has come from a premise of...
Nothing wrong with that. We just put all of it out there.
Okay, I accept that.
Yeah.
It's come from a premise of people showing me love and appreciation in the moment.
Yeah.
But then may pull back and retract, which has caused inward hurt.
Yeah, and it also caused putting more into the vortex. It caused more clarification. It caused more desire to focus. We so want you to hear us when we say, you have never yet done what we are encouraging you to do. So any results that you've ever lived before don't count. So don't try to find the pieces of what worked and didn't work and try to work them into your system. Instead, just for a little while, get to that very deep level of unconditional emotion. A good way to get there is, why do I want a relationship that looks like that? Because it feels like this. Why do I want a relationship that happens? Because when that happens, it feels like this. Why do I want that? Because it feels like this. Until you have really isolated and practiced the because it feels like, because it feels like, because it feels like. And then as you begin feeling that way without the relationship being there right now, it hasn't turned to the thing that you want, but as you focus upon, well, I liked that because it felt like this, and I liked that because it felt like this, then this becomes the main event, not that, because the fragments of that just keep taking you into more things that are sort of like that. So it's different places, different faces, but same experiences keep happening. The good and the not wanted. In other words, the wanted and the not wanted keep meeting up in different relationships. But through that process, you've sifted the not wanted out and you've put the wanted in, and Source has only kept the wanted parts. And so we promise you that the wanted part of this vibrational relationship is the one you want. But you've got to become resonant with the relationship that you want, and you have to remain resonant with it long enough that you can follow the clues, and then bam, there you are. I've been looking for you for 3 days. Not I've been looking for you all my life. I've been looking for you my whole life because I keep doing the same things over and over again. And I keep destroying the relationship by remembering the last one and the one before that and the one before that. I wrote a book about relationships. They all suck. You took my entire life to get to you now. How long have you been looking for me? 3 days. It was about 3 days. Only 3 days? Yeah. Well, how many people did you date in the meantime? None. Really? 3 days and I'm the first one? That can't be good. Yeah. Enough?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, really good.